because my wife asked the question earlier. No, he did not really pass out. Just like he was okay. You saw him land the plane after that, within minutes later. And I think you might have been did anybody else land the plane? I think he was the only one that landed the plane. So put some respect on his name, even though he passed out. There you go. There you go. Oh man, that was good. My name is Ramon Hemphill Sr., which means there's another Ramon over there somewhere. Man, I really appreciate you guys coming out. We're doing something this year we normally don't do. Usually these commencement ceremonies are a little more, intimate. We don't really put it out there to the broader public. But this year, as I've told some people before, we really wanted to make a strong statement so people really understand the value of what it is we do here. And so there's a few things that we did a little differently in our approach this year, and this is one of those things. The other thing we did was we invited students from the past 4 cohorts before this year. So you have quite a few of them that are in the building or in this auditorium right now, because we got a special gift for them toward the very end. But it truly, truly means a lot. You guys could have been anywhere, and you thought it not robbery to actually come here and hang out with us. So really, really, really means the world to me. As I'm running my mouth, everybody in these seats, I'm going to have you come on and take the stage. We are going to start with Flight Officer Dan Keel and his wonderful daughter, Miss Lynn Keel. And we'll assist you in coming up here, and that way I can get you guys in your seats. I'll take it a big stage. And then after that, we got our 2 guest speakers. So Miss Catherine Creedy and Mr. Ricardo Foster, give them a hand as they come on up. You guys can come on up this way. You guys can go ahead and take your seats. All right. Then we got a special treat for you. Somebody who's actually going to be calling the names for the graduates. He's actually a retired F-15 pilot, so I got to put some respect on his name. Lieutenant Colonel Desmond Welch, United States Air Force retired. There you go. And everybody else is already present. We're good to go. So the rest of us is myself and 2 of our board members. I introduce to you Mr. Clint Cunningham IV. And last but certainly not least, my lovely wife, who allows me to donate all of this time away from the boys, away from the household, just to be with you guys. My lovely wife, Mrs. Shannon Hickory. So I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it. Shannon, I'll go ahead and have you do the introduction of the first speaker. I'm going to sit down and be quiet.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay? All right. I have the pleasure this afternoon of introducing Ms. Catherine B. Creedy. So we have here Catherine B. Creedy is a veteran aviation journalist and author who has covered every facet of commercial and business aviation. Catherine has written for Forbes Online and is the author of Time Flies, The History of SkyWest Airlines. Her byline has appeared in Smithsonian's Air and Space magazine and top publications, as well as BBC Capital, CNN Travel, the Los Angeles Times Travel section, and AFAR.com. She writes for Women in Aviation, International Aviation for Women, and Aviation for Girls magazines, and has freelanced for most of the aviation publications covering everything from aircraft interiors, passenger experience, industry earnings, airport and business aviation. She has been examining industry workforce issues for more than a decade. Catherine is now focused on working on the national level with Aerospace Education Program Alliance to bring the recommendations from the congressionally mandated Youth and Aviation Task Force to fruition, and to promote aviation and aerospace careers. At the local level, she is working with Career Source Brevard, Brevard Public Schools Career in Tech, the CTE programs, and a host of nonprofits working in STEM and STEAM education, as well as industry partners. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Catherine B. Creedy.
I'm so happy to meet you guys. Good afternoon, everyone. As I stand up here and I look at these young people, I have to say that while it is a small class, it's going to have a mighty impact because it and others like it is leading the change. It is the leading edge of change that has long been overdue in the industry, and I can't wait. The generation since the millennials get a bad rap by their employers, but I don't buy it. What I hear from employers when they point to the lack of discipline in Gen Z and beyond, I see as their failure in training, not your failure. I see Millennials Plus as forcing changes to the work rules, changes in diversity. I think we need slide 1. Should I call for the slides? Well, there we go. Changes in the work rules, changes in diversity, and changes in society that we have long needed and that has been beyond our grasp since the start of my career 40 years ago. Slide 2. Thank you, guys. I'm going to speak today about navigating the future that has become oh so much more controversial than it has been a decade ago. And I want to give you some both inspirational and comeback sound bites that will help affect the change that we're seeking. I'm also going to play the race card and talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion as it should be discussed because I expect it to shadow us for many years. The 99th Squadron is not alone in its efforts to diversify aviation and offer opportunities to folks who might not think about piloting or other STEM careers. The many programs that aim to change our culture is what excites me about the future of aviation. Former American Airlines CEO Doug Parker formed Breaking Down Barriers in Dallas to engage the underrepresented communities to let them explore aviation opportunities. Students get a free ride, which was pretty cool, but they must pay it forward by going back into their schools and their communities and talking about the great aviation careers they're pursuing. We also have Avion Aerostar Institute, does something similar in Chicago. There is also Fly for the Culture, Fly Compton, Tuskegee Next, and Tuskegee University's brand new aviation program. And of course, the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals who are leading the charge. In other words, we're part of a movement, just as it is a movement for women and other minorities. But because we are tilting at an entrenched culture, we must have a toolkit to help us fight the good fight. I come to this speech after 40 years as an aviation journalist, and I actually started my career in the 70s, at the leading edge of when women entered the workforce en masse and affirmative action. So my reflections are the experience of a woman who faced the same culture you do, a culture of white male dominance. Sad but true. If you have an appreciation for history, you know the storyline that women were given the vote. We were given our place in the workplace, in management, and in the C-suite. And here's my first lesson. We weren't given anything, we earned it. And that's what you should take away as you never, whatever you achieve, whether it's family or the left seat, remember one thing, you have earned it. No one gave you a hand up, no one changed the rules for you, no one compromised either training standards or safety for you to become a pilot in our industry. Programs such as the 99th Squadron only revealed the possibility of a future a future you may not have otherwise thought about. You earned your place in aviation when you took that first step to join the 99th Squadron, and you'll keep on earning it with each accomplishment. I want to talk about nasty people, because they're so much a part of our culture today. The ones who shout and argue, put people down, and fight for the status quo. A lot of them are pilots, so know this. They are small, pathetic, insecure little people who don't have the confidence that they belong where they are. And they're going to try to take it out on you, because I know they've tried to take it out on me, but I won't accept that. In fact, their actions constitute a huge threat to improving aviation safety. I faced a lot of them in my career, and of course my first reaction was, what's wrong with me? Whatever it was, it's my fault. But if you remember that they are tiny, pathetic, and insecure, it will help you know that it's not them, it's them, not you. That could come out a whole lot wrong. And it's important to know, when you face such adversity, question everything. Is it them, not you? Is there truth in what they say? And if so, learn from it. If not, know you will follow your own path. That is especially important for pilots who may have a difficult flight instructor, and I've talked to many young pilots who have had difficult flight instructors. Think about it. Is their critique designed as a constructive criticism, or is it a put-down? Is it them, not you? If you think it's them, find another flight instructor, and it's your right to do so. I want to also talk about diversity the way it should be talked about. Despite the headlines that seem to want to put us in our place, nearly 80% of Americans say that diversity and inclusion are important to them. So no matter how many people out there are fighting diversity, they're on the wrong side of history. You know the stats. Less than 6% of pilots are women. Blacks make up 3.9%. The record is more dismal for aviation maintenance technicians. DEI has been made a bad word by those who want to keep the status quo in the name of fairness and wanting to be judged on their merit. They think affirmative action is unfair and got the Supreme Court to agree. Never mind the unfairness of 500 years of our history. That doesn't count. The fact remains that study after study shows diversity, reflecting society in your workforce and in your culture, is key to corporate success. Selfishly, at the very least, it's for our own good. Socially, it's the right thing to do. So turn the argument on its head about fairness, and you'll understand how actually laughable it is. People who fight diversity are saying that they don't want their company or their country to succeed in profits or in society. When I see pushback, I double down. I challenge opponents to really describe how unfair affirmative action is. That if they really wanted to talk about fairness, they would be fighting tooth and nail for equal opportunity. Only when we have equal opportunity can they be judged on merit. Otherwise, it's just empty talk leading to more of the status quo. This is not a zero-sum game. Giving someone equal opportunity does not mean someone else loses. It means we will get better. We will have richer lives, and we will be more successful. And we are not asking for special treatment because we know special treatment is counterproductive for the cause. We are asking for equal treatment, and there is nothing wrong with that. The reality is, and here's where demographics come in, we don't have enough white males to go around anymore. So we must widen the aperture of our pipeline to include those who may have never thought about aviation as a career option, if they thought about aviation at all. Otherwise, this industry will fail, and this is my second lesson. You are critically important to the success of aviation and aerospace in our country. The pilot shortage coupled with the pandemic taught us one thing: airlines cannot grow without the workforce to support its operations, whether that workforce is on the flight deck, in the maintenance bay, or in the C-suite. So increasing the pilot population is crucial to the growth of the industry, and those who don't want to see change don't want to see their companies succeed. Simple as that. That's the big picture. Without you, we fail. I post a lot on LinkedIn, and I hope you'll follow me. Even if you're in high school, you should be there. I call it lurk and learn. A lot of my posts are on aviation's culture and building the aviation aerospace workforce. I started by fighting the 1,500-hour rule, which was specifically designed to create a pilot shortage and had nothing to do with safety, but that's another story. I'd get a lot of pilots attacking me because I was challenging the union line, but I was using arguments against the rule put forth by the National Transportation Safety Board, the Flight Safety Foundation, and the Royal Aeronautical Society, and indeed other senior pilots who knew it was a wolf in sheep's clothing. In other words, I did my homework, and I did not listen to unions or airlines because I was suspicious of their agendas. So when I was attacked personally, I knew they were shooting the messenger, and they didn't really care about safety. And I said so, and they didn't like it. When they refused to engage intellectually, I developed a comeback that has helped me navigate this world because it is so much a part of our life and our politics. What I say is, I know I'm dealing with a towering intellect when all you can do is personally attack me rather than debating me on the facts. I found it pretty useful. It shut a lot of them up, but it converted a lot more because I only cited safety expert. My heart was in safety. But even if you say it only to yourself, it helps to put their comments in context with reality. Up to now, I've talked about the reality of working in a white-dominated world, and that is nothing new to you. But here's the good news. Aviation is a warm and loving fraternity with near immediate acceptance once you utter your first words about aviation. We have a ton of fun swapping aviation stories. We go to fly-ins for very expensive hamburgers if you count the flight costs. We gratefully pay it forward by advising and mentoring because someone did that for us. We speak aviation and we love to share our love of aviation. I look back on my career and think of all the friends I've had and still have after 40 years. You'll find that too. It's a great career and a great industry, and your entrance will only make it better. And here's even better news. As I said, you are the hope for the future. With you and your millennial plus counterparts, you will be pushing the boundaries of workforce policies to recognize workers are just not cogs in a wheel, but humans whose personal life must be as successful as the contributions they make to the company. You will be forming a much healthier work environment. So let me finish up with keys to success. Network, network, network. Networking is the key to achieving your goals. Leveraging your and your network's connection will open doors that otherwise may remain closed. Be a joiner, and if you join something, be active, for that is how you get noticed and you succeed. Just follow me on LinkedIn, just follow at first, and then lurk and learn, and you'll get, it's another part of your aviation. And you're already a part of this industry. You may only be in high school, but by joining the 99th Squadron, haven't you already started your career? Networking is also for within a company. It's about building bridges and allies. You empower them to witness for their beliefs and to speak out on your behalf, and say some Neanderthal comment is off base and hurts the team. Building allies within a company, especially those who speak out, provides you cover from harassment and discrimination. Pay it forward. Never let it all be all about you. The worst thing that happened in society in my career is the me generation. It's not how I was raised, but it's how society is now. As you rise through your career and in life, take the opportunity to reach back and bring someone else along. Don't let them isolate you. Find your tribe and examine what it is that's happening to you within that context. Those who would stop us start by isolating us, gaslighting us into questioning our beliefs. Your tribe will help you find the truth and what it means in your circumstances. Post meaningfully. When you use social media, try to move the conversation along, especially if it's controversial. If I see an article that speaks to me, I share it on social media with my thoughts. Responses to my post become a conversation with new colleagues who I connect with. I will tell you I learn as much from them as they learn from me. It helps to evolve my thinking by taking their perspective and learning from it. So it is a way to build on your more formal education. It is also a way to get noticed and find mentors. If past is prologue, you will have at least 4 furlough-inducing events during your career, and it's getting worse. Since 2000, we've had 4, the dot-com bust, 9/11, Great Recession, and COVID. What's your plan B? So what if you wash out? You're not going to, but what if you do? What if you lose your medical? There's a lot beyond your control. Commercial piloting is not for everyone. My criticism of flight schools is that they just let you go instead of walking you across the field to introduce you to air traffic controllers, to flight dispatchers, and to airport operations managers. If they won't do it, you walk across the field and explore other aviation careers. Even if you start as a gate agent or a ramp rat, you can rise through the ranks. Just know whatever you do, there's a place for you in aviation, and there are thousands of careers. I'll conclude with inspirations that have guided me my entire life. First is, you learn more from those who challenge you than all those who pat you on the back combined. Don't take it personally. Examine it for truth. Learn from it. Evolve and be better. I've faced some tough times in my career, and if I've learned anything, it's this. When you have come to the edge of all the light you know and you are about to step off into the darkness, know one of 2 things will happen. After I finish this quote, if you could put the next slide on, I'd appreciate it. Know one of 2 things will happen. There will be something solid on which to stand. Or you will be taught how to fly. Or, in the immortal words of Sheriff Woody, reach for the skies. Thank you.
No, you're definitely not in trouble. Hey, I want to give you a sincere appreciation for this wonderful speech. I actually got a chance to look at it ahead of time, and I'm like, oh, she about to go in. This is about to be a whole sermon. I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm all for it. Come stand up again. I'm going to give you this wonderful award.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure and an honor to be able to introduce our next speaker. Ricardo Foster is a retired U.S. Navy Lieutenant Commander with over 28 years of distinguished service, including his role as Naval Intelligence Officer. Originally from Jamaica, Ricardo moved to Brooklyn, New York at the age of 11. He attended public school and enlisted in the Navy at 17 years old. After retiring in 2018, Ricardo transitioned into full-time careers as a real estate investor, national security consultant, and entrepreneur. In 2020, he founded the Infinity Aero Club, Tampa Bay, a nonprofit organization dedicated to increasing accessibility to aviation, STEM, and entrepreneurship programs for underserved communities. Under his leadership, the organization has impacted over 70,000 individuals. In April 2024, Ricardo expanded Infinity Aero Club's outreach globally to Caribbean nations, including Guyana and Jamaica, his birthplace. Infinity Aero Club has earned significant recognition for its work. In 2023, it was awarded the Ambassador of the Year Community Service Award by Hillsborough County Black Chamber of Commerce for its exceptional service to over 21,000 individuals. In 2024, Infinity Aero Club was named one of the 12 finalists out of 11,000 businesses in Pasco County to be recognized at the 36th Annual Pasco County Economic Development Council Awards, highlighting its contributions to job creation, capital investment, and civic engagement. Ricardo holds a Bachelor of Science in Aviation from Norfolk State University and a master's degree in National Security and Strategic Studies from the Naval War College. He is a dedicated member of Idlewild Baptist Church and a proud father and grandfather. Again, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Ricardo Foster.
Wow, who's that guy? It's amazing to stand here and witness what the 99 Pursuit Squadron have done, and all the volunteers and all the people who have come out to support it. It just makes my heart bloom. Without further ado, the speech today I've named The Legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen and Having a 1% Mindset. And it's because of you graduates that I'm here. Honored graduates, distinguished guests, faculty, family members, and most important, Lieutenant Daniel Keel. Today is a momentous occasion, a day to celebrate the accomplishment of each one of you graduates. But before we continue with congratulations and accolades, I want to pause and acknowledge an extraordinary presence in the room with us, Lieutenant Daniel Keel, one of the original Tuskegee Airmen, who at 102 years old is a living testimony to perseverance, excellence, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. As you can see, I am wedded to this podium. I am not normally a script writer, but I have to stay on script. This is such a wonderful occasion. I can go in many different rabbit holes, so I'm gonna stick to the script. It's about you, but not really. To be in the same room as one of the men who forged a legacy under unimaginable pressure and prejudice is not just a privilege, it's a reminder of the larger responsibility that lies ahead of you. Yes, you graduates, I'm talking to you, eyeball to eyeball, right? Today is not just about looking back at your hard work and accomplishments. It's about looking forward to what lies ahead, about embracing a bigger and higher purpose than just yourself. Let me take you back to January 16, 1941, when the U.S. War Department announced the formation of the 99th Pursuit Squadron, an African-American unit that trained at the Tuskegee Institute. This squadron was the first of 4 that would eventually become part of the 332nd Fighter Group, now famously known as the Tuskegee Airmen. These brave men fought 2 battles simultaneously, one against the enemy abroad and one against the racism and discrimination at home. They stood as pioneers breaking barriers that had been in place. These men weren't just soldiers, they were trailblazers, proving that African Americans could achieve greatness in the face of unimaginable adversity. But there's something even more special here. Your organization takes its very namesake from this 99th Pursuit Squadron. You're carrying forward the legacy of the 1%er of their time. Those few who dared to dream, who defied expectations, and who paved the way for future generations. When I talk about the top 1%, I'm not talking about those who merely achieve financial success, or I could. I'm talking about the men like Flight Officer Daniel Keel and his fellow Tuskegee Airmen who did something much more powerful. They created a legacy. They didn't just fight, they excelled, rising to become the best of the best. Think about it, young people. The Tuskegee Airmen were excellent in any category, in any class. For example, in January 1949, the Chief of Staff of the Air Force put out a call to all U.S. Air Force fighter groups to send their top scorers to represent their group at the first Top Gun weapons meet. I'm not just wearing this hat for any particular reason. It's for a very specific reason. So the airmen that went out, they went to Las Vegas Air Force Base, now Nellis Air Force Base, and competed in events like aerial gunnery, dive bombing, skip bombing, rocket firing, and panel strafing. Lieutenant Colonel James Harvey called it the highlight of my career. Despite flying outdated aircraft, their skills was unmatched. Did you hear that, young people? Their skills were unmatched. Can you repeat that? Showing that the pilot's talent determines the outcome. Their work, their sacrifice, and their unyielding belief in their mission have allowed us to reap the benefits today. By being the best and doing their best, they ensured victory both abroad and at home. These men represented the original 1%ers, elite individuals who stood against the odds and overcame every obstacle in their path. Today, I share the 6 traits that distinguish the Tuskegee Airmen, the original 1%ers, I call it, and that you, as graduates, can carry forward to build on this rich legacy. Take note as you have homework on this journey of life to refine and build upon these 6 traits if you so choose. Here we go. Trait 1, purpose over popularity. What does that mean? The Tuskegee Airmen were concerned with being liked. The Tuskegee Airmen weren't concerned with being liked. They were concerned with their purpose, with fulfilling the mission set before them. They didn't follow the crowd, they followed a higher calling. Lesson for you. Don't be consumed by others, by what others think. In a world obsessed with popularity, choose purpose. Stand firm in your values, your mission, and your goals, no matter how much pressure there is to confirm. Trait 2, focus on value creation. The Tuskegee Airmen didn't just do their duty, they created value for their country and the world. They showed that excellence could be achieved under pressure, and in so, they delivered on a promise that had long been denied. Graduates, lesson for you. In your own life and career, don't just aim for success. Aim to create value in everything you do. Solve problems, innovate, and be the person that people can count on to add value to any situation. Trait number 3, mastery. No one ever told you that, right? Well, we're going to tell you today. Practicing until it becomes second nature. That is a short definition of mastery. The Tuskegee Airmen weren't born pilots. They practiced relentlessly, often under hostile conditions, until flying became second nature. They achieve mastery by pushing through, refraining their skills, and becoming the very best. Graduates, lesson to you. Everything that seems difficult today can become second nature through consistent, deliberate practice. Whether it's your career, your relationship, or your community. Aim for what? Mastery. Trait number 4, persevering, persistent. The Tuskegee Airmen faced challenges that would have made others quit. But for them, adversity wasn't a roadblock. It was a reason to accelerate. When others saw obstacles, they saw opportunity. Graduates, lesson for you. Don't let hardship stop you. When things get tough, push harder. The one who doesn't quit, doesn't stop, will always find a way to succeed. You, like the Tuskegee Airmen, must develop an unbreakable will to keep going. Thank you. Trait number 5, positive presence in the face of problems. The Tuskegee Airmen knew that every problem had 2 sides, a problem side and a solution side. Where others saw obstacles, they flipped the script and saw opportunities. They turned their challenges into triumphs. Graduates, lesson to you. Every problem you face has a solution waiting to be found. Be the person who flips the script, who looks for the positive side of any negative situation, and negative situation you will come against all the time. And also practice turning problems into opportunities for growth and success. The last trait number 6, producing the pinnacle of profits. What does that mean? The Tuskegee Airmen may not have been paid the way we measure success today, but they produce immeasurable value. They paid the price in hard work, sacrifice, and perseverance. And in return, they earned a legacy that will live on forever. Lessons for you, graduates. Success is always proportional to the price paid. Whether it's financial, personal, or spiritual, your reward will match the value and effort you put into your work and life. Now, we live in a world where we often measure success by financial metrics. So, let me give you some context. The top 10% of wage earners in America make approximately $169,000 annually. The top 5% of America earns about $339,000 annually. The top 1%, you know how much they're worth? They earn about $889,000 annually. And let's go a little bit further. The top 0.1% of the wage earners in America makes more than $3 million a year. But when we compare that to the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen, men like General Benjamin O. Davis Jr., Captain Charles Hall, and Flight Officer Daniel Keel, we see that true success isn't just measured in dollars. Their contribution wasn't financial, it was historic. Their legacy of courage, integrity, and service is worth far more than any financial gain. It's a legacy that paved the way for future generations, a legacy that still impacts us today, and I'm one of the impacts. That's why I'm here standing in front of you with this hat, with this flight suit. Oh no, it's not fake, it's real. I've been there. Graduates, as you step into the world, remember that you are not just continuing your own story, you're continuing their story. Flight Officer Daniel Keel, sitting among us here today, and his fellow airmen have passed the torch to us. And now it is up to you, graduates, to carry it forward. You are the next chapter in this legacy. You are the ones who will build on their work and push the boundaries further and stand as the next generation of the one percenters. Don't just aim for financial success, aim for impact, for service, and for a life of purpose. As I close, I leave you with this thought from Dr. Myron Golden, who often says, when you learn what the magician knows, it isn't magic anymore. The Tuskegee Airmen didn't achieve magic. They mastered their craft. They persevered and fulfilled their purpose. Now it's your turn, graduates. Stand up to stand out. Don't fall in line just to fit in or be liked. Be more concerned with your purpose than with being popular. Carry forward the legacy of the one percenters. And most importantly, serve others. Because that's what makes a true legacy. Congratulations, graduates. The world is waiting for you to make your mark, just as the Tuskegee Airmen made theirs. Let's go forward and build a future worthy of their name. Be the best, do your best, and you will have the best. Thank you.
So in the same fashion, of course, I got something for you for coming all this way. And, you know, it only took this massive production to get you over to Melbourne, to my neck of the woods, by the way. But if that's what it took, that's what it's about. You guys don't know this, but Clint and I, anytime we find an excuse to go over to Tampa and check him out, we do. We come out there numerous times. He's got a whole pilot playhouse, I'll call it, you know, just for coming down there and just enjoying the whole scene, enjoying that whole ambiance. You know, he's really modest, but this guy runs his own hangar at the Tampa North Airport around, what is it, Lutz? In Lutz, and just outside of Tampa, just north of Tampa. So imagine that. We get to come down there and go see a guy that actually owns his own doggone house and hangar at the freaking airport. I've even stayed the night over there before. So thank you again. All right, so now I have the honor of introducing somebody very, very special for you, and he's going to come up, and he has the honor of actually saying the names of each of the students. So after I'm done reading through this biography of his, I'm going to have you guys come over on these steps, and you're just going to mount up right here, and he's going to call your name. So I'll let you guys know when to come up. Whew. Lieutenant Colonel Desmond R. Welch, United States Air Force, retired. Desmond Welch was an U.S. Air Force pilot and NASA instructor with more than 15 years of classroom, simulator, and flight instruction experience. He has flown over 2,000 hours in several different aircraft, primarily the F-15 Eagle and the F-5 Tiger II. Mr. Welch earned a bachelor's degree in meteorology from UCLA, worked in airline operations, and then graduated from United States Air Force undergraduate pilot training in 1977. He looks too young. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, assigned to the F-15 Eagle. After 3 years as an F-15 aircraft commander, he was chosen to be an F-15 instructor pilot. Mr. Welch has subsequently assigned, or was subsequently assigned to the F-5 in the aggressor role, where he instructed U.S. and allied forces on potential adversary tactics and systems. He also instructed newly assigned aggressor pilots in how to teach tactics, formations, and weapons systems. Leaving active duty in 1988, Mr. Welch was hired as an astronaut instructor at NASA Johnson Space Center. He specialized in space shuttle control, propulsion, and guidance systems, as well as ascent, orbit, and entry operations and malfunction procedures. Mr. Welch taught over 300 astronauts and mission controllers in the classroom and in shuttle simulators, contributing to the safe and effective accomplishment of more than 30 space shuttle missions. In the Texas Air National Guard, Mr. Welch was a United States Air Force meteorologist and commanded the 111th Weather Flight at Ellington Field, Texas. His unit supported U.S. Army aviation assets deployed overseas, as well as the 5th Continental U.S. Army Emergency Operations Center. Mr. Welch also served in J-33 current operations at U.S. Joint Forces Command as staff meteorologist, supporting the U.S. Joint Forces Command Joint Operations Center during post-9/11 military operations. He retired from the United States Air Force Reserve as a lieutenant colonel after 30 years of service. Mr. Welch has extensive experience in information technology, from ISP co-founder to IT analyst to application software developer and software sales. He holds a Master of Science degrees in physical science and space studies. Mr. Welch is married with 2 adult children. And before I bring him to the stage, I should have had this guy when I was having to learn about weather when I was training for my private pilot's license. I wish I knew you back then. But come on to the stage, Lieutenant Colonel Welch. All right, so as he's about to call your name, come on and mount up. I'm going to have you take these steps, and you're just going to crowd right here. So come on up, and we'll have you in the order that you're seeing. So definitely Elijah first. There you go. Mount up, you're already good.
Let me add my congratulations to the graduates. This is quite an honor, and I'm thrilled to be here and part of the process, part of the graduation ceremony. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, I got short guy syndrome.
I just said thanks. Thanks for having me. Okay, I'm going to call each graduate up one by one. Elijah Rivera.
And then Elijah, you're going to mount up at that post, that backdrop down there. So take those steps right there. But at first, I want you to shake all of these lovely, wonderful people's hands, including Flight Officer Dan Gill. All right. Yeah, and then just hit those steps, and you're going to basically stand in front of that backdrop and await the rest of your cohort. You guys are going to take one big group shot. So, all right.
Vincent Robertson. Ava Hernandez.
Make sure our folks got a good shot back there. There you go.
Christopher Lyons. Josiah Suarez. Dayton Morton.
Smile for your mama. Dayton. You gotta shake their hand. Dayton. Come shake their hand. Just shake each of their hands, and then you'll go over to the backdrop. There you go.
Asir Wright. Zachary Terrero.
Zach got the best footage ever. All right, go ahead. I'll take a shot with Clint.
That's right. Come on, Zach.
Back on his thing. Get a shot next to Clint, too. Get a shot next to Clint. There you go.
William Santos. Nehemiah Pierce. Ketnu, major.
All right. And so as he shakes hands and goes down to join the rest of the group, our wonderful photographer is going to get just a cohort shot for the 2024 cohort. As she's doing that, I'm asking that all students from previous cohorts please stand up, come over here on this side, come on up on the stage so we can get you your graduation stoles. So these are classes from 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. Then once we get all your stoles, and I want you guys to shake hands too, but after you shake hands, we're going to take one big happy family picture in front of there. So shake hands and then get to the other stairs. There you go. Thank you. Tamara, good to see you, man. What's up? Good to see you. What's going on, man? There you go. Looks wonderful. There we go. She was more of them than we thought. Congratulations, guys. Hey, it was for the parents. Yeah. I want to make sure I got you right. There we go. There we go. Good to see you. Y'all a few years early, but here you go. That's okay. There you go. That's okay. There you go. That was completely unplanned, by the way. So yeah, we'll give them a moment to gather around. Hey, don't be shy. Y'all got to get together. If we got to move that, we can move that light back a little bit. Careful there. There we go. One big happy family. Parents, don't get your shots real quick. I know. You saw us scrambling earlier because we weren't sure how many previous graduates were coming, so it was actually more than we thought. Oh, there. These are all present, our pilot volunteers in the squad. All present. Let's go. So I'm going to do the thank yous and all that. So yeah, we'll get into these guys. So I'll just go in order of those who are here. So I'm going to start off with Gary. I'm going to do a quick spill on each one. All right, guys, go ahead and take your seats. We got another portion to get through, another 2 portions to get through, and then we'll wrap up. Go ahead and take your seats, take your seats, take your seats. resources aspect. I don't ever lose sight of that. And so every year we've dedicated a portion to where we thank a handful of folks who've had a significant impact on us. I want to start with this wonderful guy who, since day one, has always been asking, hey, how can I help you guys? He actually runs a flight school in Melbourne. Maybe you heard of it, Melbourne Flight Training. All right, and just always looking out. But most notably this year, they actually donated a flight simulator that's actually a basic aviation training device, which means you can actually log certain things for it. You can actually get credit for certain things, notably instrument approaches if you're instrument rated like I am. And so this thing is worth like over $24,000. And he could have did anything he wanted with it as they were renewing their inventory and gathering newer simulators, but he actually reached out and thought of us. So Mr. Derek Fallon, please come on up, man. Recognition. There'll be 3 total. We actually reached out to, or we actually listed 5, but 2 of them couldn't make it. But some of these folks, they don't even live in the area. One of them happens to be a snowbird, so he ain't coming to the end of November. So the second person, and he represents an entire organization that has had, man, one of the greatest impacts on us. Every year there's a golf tournament called Best of the Beach, and they choose one particular nonprofit to support each year. And this year they chose us. And actually, it was such a successful golf tournament, it brought in 14 grand for our organization. And I cannot thank them enough. So representing on their behalf is one of the staff members of Best of the Beach, Mr. Frank Whitley. Come on up, my brother. Make sure you get your handshakes at the end too. And before I get to the last person present here, I want to go over the other 2 folks that I had listed who are not present today. There's this particular couple who, man, probably going back to early 2021, started donating to our organization on a monthly basis, which was I was just completely floored at even just the notion of that, and they have continued doing it to this very day, and they asked for absolutely nothing. One year they even, on top of doing that, they even provided all the snacks and stuff for the week 5 curriculum, which is where we do our actual flight planning. So just absolutely priceless. I run into these folks all the time. I can never thank them enough, but please give a round of applause for Mr. Freddie and Amina Levi. Then, Tamari, where are you at? Stand up for me, young man. I know you didn't see this coming. So, Tamari represents one of the other folks we got on here. A while back, come on up. A while back, over the summer, we had reached out to our network of folks because we had changed our approach. We had changed our approach, if you will, because we were concerned about how can we get this young man resources for actual flight training, given the fact that he took his own initiative and actually passed the doggone written test for private pilot. All right? So from that point, we said, okay, we need to completely change our approach here for the next couple of months, and let's see what resources we can gather, not for the squadron, but for him. All right? Because this is a first for us. There's got to be something we can do for him. So there was a nice gentleman who reached out to us and decided to put out $5,000 for him. And his name is Mr. Nicholas Van Sant, so please give him a hand, even though he can't be here. All right, and now, last but not least, because he is present, and I have him last because, man, he really, really goes back to the very beginning, looking at late 2020 when we had connected. So this guy is single-handedly responsible for our launch into the press, if you will. You're talking about the first couple of actual newspaper articles that were dedicated to us, and since then he's done a whole lot more in putting us in the spotlight. So much that last fall we participated in the Volunteer Recognition Awards and actually got recognition for all the work that we do, and that was not even a year ago. As if everything else he's done wasn't enough in just getting our name out there, getting our name on the map. Those things are equally as important, if not more, than just contributing $1 or giving us this and that, because that right there is how we spread the word as to the work that we're doing. So, Mr. Jeff Gallup, thank you so very much. Come on up. By the way, for those who don't know, some of you do, he actually helps run this annual Kwanzaa celebration every year in Palm Bay, and it's a great success every single time. Come on, my brother. And Miss Ava, I'll go ahead and have you come up.
Okay, okay. So I have the honor of reading Mr. Daniel Keel's biography. Daniel Keel was born in Mineola, New York in 1922, and he was raised in South Carolina and Massachusetts. Mr. Keel is a 1941 graduate of Boston Latin School, where he received a classical education, which included Latin and German, while also attaining the rank of cadet second lieutenant in his JROTC regiment. He then continued his education at Northeastern University in Boston, majoring in aeronautical engineering. Drafted into the U.S. Army Corps as an aviation cadet in 1943, Mr. Keel began his initial training at Keesler Army Field in Biloxi, Mississippi, and Tuskegee Army Airfield, Alabama. Mr. Keel then continued his training at Hondo Army Airfield, Texas, receiving his twin-engine Navigator rating in 1944, followed by completing his second rating as an aerial bombardier in Midland Army Airfield, Texas. While at Midland, he and his fellow Tuskegee Airmen officers sent a letter to the Inspector General in Washington, D.C. in protest of the unequal and segregated facilities on base. Social facilities were soon desegregated, much to the consternation of local commanders. This incident was not declassified until 2015. Mr. Keel earned his third rating as a pilot at Tuskegee, where he successfully completed basic single-engine training in the T-6 Texan trainer. He then completed his training in the B-25 Mitchell medium bomber in preparation of serving in the Pacific Theater with the 477th Composite Group. However, World War II ended prior to his deployment. Nonetheless, Mr. Keel holds the distinction of being one of only 3 black officers to earn 3 aeronautical ratings during World War II. Following his discharge in 1946, Mr. Keel obtained a commercial multi-engine pilot's license with the dream that he can continue his passion for flying. Unfortunately, black pilots weren't hired by commercial airlines until the 1960s, Instead, Mr. Keel, together with his wife Barbara, raised 8 children in Massachusetts while becoming a master electrician and prominent commercial contractor until his retirement to Central Florida in 1998. Mr. Keel has been the guest of honor at many speaking engagements and has accepted multiple awards for his service to his country. During March of 2007, he, together with other surviving Tuskegee Airmen, traveled to Statuary Hall at the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. to accept from President George W. Bush and Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives Nancy Pelosi the Congressional Gold Medal, the highest civilian honor that Congress can bestow. Today, at 102 years old, Daniel Keel still continues to serve his community by sharing his story and the story of thousands of men and women who honorably served as Tuskegee Airmen. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for doing that. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, take a seat. So before I have them stand up, I want you to understand the story here as to why I had Ms. Ava Hernandez read out his bio. All right? At week 1 of our annual curriculum, at some point I had mentioned that on September 10th, it was going to be Flight Officer Keel's birthday. And I'm going to always remember that date because that's also the youngest guy over there. It's his birthday too. And so I mentioned that. And days later, I get an email from Ava saying, hey, can you wish Flight Officer Keel a happy birthday? And I was like, oh, wow. So I forwarded that over to the two of them, his daughter Lynn Keel and he himself, and he actually made a video to thank her for wishing him happy birthday and specifically called her out. We did not see that coming, so I was like, oh, this is too good to be true. So I sent it over to her, and from what I heard from her parents, man, she was just tears of joy. And so I wanted to make sure I make that connection between the two of them because that meant a whole lot to me. She didn't have to do that. So I asked her last minute, maybe a night or two ago, hey, Ava, do you mind reading out that bio? Every year we name each cohort after somebody or an important principal. And this year we have named the squadron after Flight Officer Daniel Keel. And it has just been an honor, just the fact that I was able to reach out to them and for them to actually make the time to come all the way out here. We even offered them a hotel stay, but they turned us down. But that's okay. But that's just how ready and willing they are to hit the road and to go engage with people. And along that same token, you notice we got some people here of the same dress code with these bright red shirts on. They actually represent an organization called Tuskegee Airmen Incorporated. And the whole purpose behind the organization is to further that legacy, get the awareness out, and provide avenues for folks who may want to go down similar paths. All right, but with that important history in mind. So definitely after the ceremony, when you bump into these guys, definitely engage with them. They're sitting over here, and then we got a few scattered out over there. And they're coming from different places. These guys aren't local, which means they also took their time. They could have been doing anything else right now, but they found this so important that they took the time to come on out here and engage with us, and it truly means a lot. I myself am a member, and I want you guys to know I'm extremely grateful for you guys taking the time to come out. It truly means a lot to me. All right? So First Officer Keel and Lynn Keel, I want you guys both to stand up. I'm going to come to you. And what his daughter, Lynn Keel, doesn't realize is that we got awards for the both of them because I wanted to be abundantly clear how thankful I am for what Miss Lynn Keel does in getting him from point to B all the time. And I want to make sure she gets her flowers as well. So I'm going to present this to the both of you guys. This is yours. All right, it's heavy. Yes, sir. All right. Yeah, and that is it, man. I just wanted to be able to make sure that this was put out there. If you so choose, if you want to say a few words, or either of you want to say a few words. Yeah, can I get this off? There we go.
Like you know, he's now 102 years old as of September 10th, and he represents a major legacy in American history, together with the other approximately 15 to 16,000 other Tuskegee Airmen, many of whom have now passed away. It's a pleasure to see a younger generation coming up behind and really representing, because these are the kind of things that my father fought for back in the 1940s. And now it's 2024, and it's great to see that the legacy continues, and hopefully some or all of you will go into the aviation industry and make us proud. Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate you.
Let me know how to handle it.
Did you want to say? My father was like 100% hearing disabled, so it's a challenge. So, but I think he wants to say a couple of words. You want to say a couple of words?
Well, I'm honored and a pleasure to be here. And all I like to say is to get ahead today, get yourself a good education, work hard, and a little luck. You have no problem in the future.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Last thing I'll say before we get out of here, I don't know if you guys looked inside of your bags. There's just a few gifts in there, you know, outside of the actual certificate that you got and the graduation stones that you got. There's also a big map of the state of Florida, a big aerial sectional chart, similar to what you use in your Week 5 curriculum, but it's the whole state of Florida. And you also have this booklet with airport information. You also have a flight log in there with our raised seal, and I've signed it with one particular little statement in there. You'll see a website that I wrote in the first page of that flight log. It says the99.org/lineage. Lineage is the page that you guys are going to be on. You each have profile pictures now, and you joined that group that you just took pictures with. So all of that is there. You also have a thumb drive on the zipper of each of your bags. That video you saw earlier of you guys flying, that whole compilation, you all have copies of all 11 flights on each of your thumb drives. We do that because they include GPS overlays for airspeed, well, ground speed, and GPS altitude, so you can study that stuff and get those relationships down. All right, so take a look, have a few laughs as you did earlier with the footage, but that is yours to keep. Thank you guys so much for taking the time. I cannot thank you enough. I think we accomplished what we meant to as far as getting that word out. Okay. Oh, one final announcement. Hold on. Forgot about that.
All right, this is Unplanned. My name is Dr. Manchin, and I live in this community, and I support all things that are good for young people in our community at large. But Mr. Hemphill is a member of our Masonic Lodge here locally, past master, and he does a lot of work. It's kind of hard to keep his feet on the ground. So I had to come over here and catch him just to thank you, sir, for all the things that you do with us, for us, in the community. Now, in our lodge, we have meetings every month, and sometimes brothers aren't able to come in and meet. But Mr. Hemphill also works with our Knights of Pythagoras, the young men, right? And so, as a lodge, we came together and we wanted to make sure that you knew that you are the Master Mason of the Year. So we want to congratulate you, sir. So just so you know, this award is named after another community member, past Master Joe McNeil. So it's a Joseph McNeil Jr. Master Mason of the Year. And thank you very much, sir.